Well, folks, something finally happened at Marvel that I am genuinely excited about. I have been preaching to the choir forever that Marvel films need to be horny. DC is horny, The Boys is horny, hell, every other superhero property is kind of horny. Some movies still need to be more horny. More horniness in our pop culture, please and thank you. Well, it looks like my prayers have finally been answered because this episode of She-Hulk, Jennifer gets horny on main, and she can only satisfy that horniness when she gets her alt account. That's right, folks, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law episode 4. All about dating. Hell yeah, man. This was the coolest episode yet. I don't know if it's my favorite one so far because I loved last week's so much. If there's one thing this show has really done for me, it's like, oh man, I miss shows like Suits, where it's like just good written episodes that are kind of fun and playful, set in a courtroom, or just a sitcom, like a really good sitcom. And I don't mean like, because there's a lot of sitcoms out right now, but this is a whole other topic we get into. Sitcoms try too hard today. They're like, we have to be of the times, we have to make jokes that are timely, and there's no just like effortlessness to it. They try so hard. The last, I think, genuine sitcom-ish show that I think felt effortless was things like New Girl, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I guess you could say It's Always Sunny, but I think they become too self-referential that they lose their point now. She-Hulk's up there too. It's effortless. They know exactly what they're doing. They open up the episode with a tease. Some guy's doing magic. His name's Donnie Blaze, which I'm sure will have some people up in arms. He has a sling ring. Do your thing. Sends a girl to a weird dimension. She winds up at Wong's house. I love that. We'll get to that side story in a bit here, but that's how it opens up. Then Jennifer's like, you saw Wong in the beginning. I bet you'll be happy with this episode. Then what is this episode? 2 things. First off, Jennifer needs to find a date because she is a 30-something-year-old woman who is looking to get her ivories tickled. Love it. I love it. This is the thing that I know some people, especially last week, they're like, that's not, Stan Lee would roll over in his grave. Bro, I've been looking for a time to talk about this, and I'm not the first person to bring it up. Stan Lee created Stripperella with Pamela Anderson, which is exactly what it sounds like. Stan Lee would love this. He would love this entire episode where it's like, what is this newfangled contraption where Jennifer's trying to meet men on the internet just by swiping? He'd love that shit, man. And that's what this episode is. Jennifer uploads a weird picture of herself where it's her, I guess just her identification card for being a lawyer. Gets on a date with Sleazeball, not finding any matches until she hulks out. She's that desperate for some intimacy that if she makes herself a She-Hulk profile, she meets a bunch of men. Couple of them are kind of sleazy. Couple of them are just look at this specimen of a woman. One of them, a nice handsome doctor who looks really good shirtless. Maybe he's the right pick. Maybe we could go roll around in the hay for a bit. Here's what I'm going to say, and I think this is to the credit of the show. The scenes when Jennifer is being seductive, sexy, and flirty are when the VFX look the best for that character. And I'm like, if you are going to do one thing for that, if you're going to perfect one kind of sequence for all of that, it should be the scenes where she's the sexiest. That's not like me saying the rest of it looks shit. I think this episode was an improvement compared to last episodes in terms of the VFX. I just think that is the thing that people are going to be like, you have to convincingly portray her appeal, and she's gorgeous. And the thing I don't like that the show did was nobody wants to date Tatiana Maslany. Are you kidding me? She's so fun and cute. Who wouldn't want to be with Tatiana? Jenna, yeah, She-Hulk is the persona that's a big, strong, muscular woman picking you up in her arms and taking you to bed. That's the dream. But you know what else is the dream? Jennifer Walters, a nice, bubbly, fun lady who is sarcastic and witty and creative. Both of those are the dream. And you get 2 of them for the price of 1? That is something we could all appeal to, and I like that a lot. Now, here's something, I was thinking about bringing this up. I kind of want to talk about it. I think it's kind of interesting. So, there's a scene with Nikki where she is swiping through all of, Jennifer's pics, and she's like, man, hetero dating is so boring or something. And I'm like, is that the closest we're going to get to revealing her sexual orientation? is that the best we're going to do where she's like hetero dating? It could imply like she is heterosexual and she's agreeing with like how boring this looks, or it's like as a gay woman, this is really sad to look at. They don't specify either way. That to me plays off like, oh, Loki's a little bit of both, but then he kisses the girl. It's like, fuck off. A little bit of that, and I'm like, is that going to be something worth exploring? I hope so, because it's just, I love Jennifer just like falling back through the portal, landing on top of the guy, and then the moment he sees it's Jennifer in the morning, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to go because I was here for the big green lady. How dare you? I mean, Jennifer cooked breakfast. You stay and eat the breakfast. I don't care if you're like, you know, not feeling it. You stay and eat the breakfast because that's free food, man. And that's a beautiful woman who probably just gave you the night of your life. But that's only part of the story. The other part of the story is Wong. This Donnie Blaze, well, he's using magic for all the wrong reasons. Wong wants to get his lawyer for a cease and desist. And who do we have introduced in this episode to kind of help thwart that? We have Madisynn with 2 N's and a Y, but the Y is not where you think, because when we go to court, she's going to testify against Donnie Blaze. It is such a sitcom-y vibe, that character, but it's great. It is very much like, here's the curmudgeon-y older gentleman, not even older, I'm just going to say the curmudgeon-y gentleman who's kind of just like, oh, look at this, it all sucks, and that's Wong. Then this fun, bubbly girl shows up, and the two of them, the chemistry is instant. It makes for great stuff. She spoils the Sopranos for him. They're like, can we go get like something to eat and talk about Sopranos? She's like, yeah, let's go do that right now. It is funny. She goes to like, she makes a deal with like a goat named Jake in like a dark dimension to come back here. It's like, that is awesome. And then there's like your comeuppance scene where Donnie Blaze accidentally summons a bunch of weird goblin little demons into his magic act. Wong and She-Hulk have to fight them and send them back to the portal. It is awesome. And again, it's doing the superhero thing within the sitcom form. It's like, I'm going on a date with a handsome guy, but work's calling me aside, and oh no, the kitchen is on fire. How are we supposed to cook this great dinner for my boyfriend when the kitchen's on fire, and the guy I brought him to pretend to be the chef that I'm actually cooking it, and he's actually the one cooking it? They can't stop it. It is a sitcom-y vibe in the guise of superhero stuff, and it is so good. The best stuff on television. You can't copyright magic, baby, but you can open a portal, send a bunch of goblins out, and get your lawyer who's in the middle of flirting it up to come and help you. How can you be a person alive and not like this? That's what I want to know, because this is the best thing Marvel has put out, I think, in ages. It is. It is the most fun. It is the most interesting. It's this thing I've been talking about, at least, and a lot of other people have too. When you are doing a television show, structure your thing like a fucking television show, and you're going to get better results. WandaVision did it. Miss Marvel kind of did it. She-Hulk's doing it the best. I will stand by that statement. This episode was funny and awesome. They were horny on main. Finally, they were horny on main, something I've been waiting literal years to see. Sure, there was a really shitty sex scene in Eternals with 2 actors who said they had chemistry but really didn't, and you just have a VFX green lady having more to do with a big, muscular, hunky doctor, and you're convinced? Yes, I'm convinced. Oof, I love it. But come on, guys, Tatiana's sexy. We need to have somebody interested. You have to have the character show up eventually. I think it's going to be Matt. Who's interested in Tatiana and not the She-Hulk persona. I think it's going to be Matt, but I like it. Titania shows up again because she owns the copyright for the name She-Hulk, and she's going to take Jennifer to court for defamation, and I'm like, that is a great idea. Get Jamila back in here, a bunch of strong, beautiful women being awesome. I love this show. This is it, man. This is the closest they're going to get to Peacemaker, if that makes sense. You know, like where Peacemaker's like inadvertently sexual, hyper-violence, crazy. This is the Marvel version of that, where it's like, we're going to give you the sexual nature a little bit, where She-Hulk looks to camera like, I'm not proud of this, but honey needs to get some nectar, you know? Like that's what we need. I think it's awesome. I really like that, and the post-credit scene might be my favorite one yet. Where it's just Wong and Madisynn watching This Is Us, and she's asking him like, have you tried this drink? Have you tried that drink? And he's like, well, there's one thing I have is like vodka and yak milk. It was so gross. And she's like, I would try that. Like, yeah, I think we have some left over from the wedding. Awesome. Like, that's awesome. What a great... I love that joke. Madisyn's such a silly character that works for the sitcom. If it was in another show, you'd hate the character, but because it's this, it works so well, and she is so compelling and cute and fun, and everybody is just firing on all cylinders. This show is great. It is great! I didn't think I would ever say a Marvel property has gotten me excited for the future, but I look forward to every episode every week, and even just the silly stuff. I think it's working. It's working great. If you don't like it, screw you. Stan Lee would love it. He would be the first. He would be somebody doing a silly thing that he'd be on a date with She-Hulk. He'd be like a random cameo. It's like, I thought you were younger. It's like, well, I thought you were taller or something. You know, that'd be the joke. I love it. I love it. And that is going to do it for this episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I'll be back every week to talk about it because we got good shit to talk about now on She-Hulk. It's awesome. Thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.